relate to the crucifixion, relate to how Jesus helped us, relate to communion. It's a completely different thing. And tonight we're going to talk about Jonah. The task I have for you is to go there and I will bless you. I'll bless the whole town and I'll bless you. Now Nineveh was a bad town. It required a lot of work. People were bad people. They were doing the wrong thing. They weren't doing church the right way. They were worshiping the wrong way. And God told Jonah to go there. And most of y'all know this story. How many of y'all know the story of Jonah? If you don't, I'm going to give you a brief section of it tonight. So, when God looked down and told Jonah, He said, go to Nineveh. You need to go save these people. You're the man I have chosen to do this. This is what I have for you, to bless you and to show that you are one of my followers, to show that you trust me as God. Nineveh, he said, God, that's too much work. That's too much to do. That means I have to actually go into these people and talk to them and try to tell them about how you are and how to worship and everything. That's just too much. You know what, God? I don't even want to go. I want to go as far away from there as I can. I'm going to take a completely different route. I'm going to go to a completely different place. So Jonah decided, he packed up his things and said, God, I'm leaving, but I'm not going where you want me to go. I'm going my own way. Going to Tarshish. I'm getting out of here. I'm going out of town. Let me tell you about this town. I'm not going to pronounce it. It's Tarshish. You hear New York. You hear New York. You hear New York. You heard Tarshish all the time because that was where people brought stuff. I am so ready to get out of here. I'm not going to go where God told me to go. I'm going to jump off this boat to save you because but it's too much work to go back there. I'm not going to do it because as a child we think of the biggest fish as a whale, but it really just isn't great up to this point. God has told us to do something. He has something for us. He created the ultimate sacrifice of His Son to give us a way to heaven. And some of us tonight, after we go through this end of series, after we talk, are looking at God and saying, it's too much for you, but it's going to be a rough ride because there's always things that you do. If you steal something because you don't care about it, you're going to go to jail. If you do something, you're going to have consequences for it, but they're not going to be the consequences that God would give you. They're going to be what's happening to you. But the whole time, God is telling Jonah, look, I've got a blessing for you. I've got the ultimate blessing for you if you just go there and do the work. If you just go to this town will be saved. You can stand up in front of people and say, I saved an entire town. So listen. The one thing Jonah doesn't have that helps us was Jesus. You said, no, I won't do that. I can't do that. It's too big of a job. It's too hard. And the whole time God's saying to you, I sent Jesus. I sent my Son. I sent Him to live and die so that you could do this. Guys, when Jesus was crucified, He took the disciples to the upper room before that and sat with them. They were puzzled at what He was doing because He sat behind this table and He had this loaf of bread and this cup of wine. And He sat down there and He was, just with everybody, and they were joking around and having fun. And then all of a sudden things says, we really don't know how He did it, but He broke the bread and He handed it to the disciples. And the disciples took a small piece of the bread to represent His body being broken, being beaten, being bruised, so we can have the ultimate sacrifice to be able to do what God has for us to do the assignment that God sent us from there for. He told those 12, He said, this is what has to happen for you to go out to the world. This is what has to happen for God to give you that decision to do something right. Come around. The disciples knew this because back in that time, they knew how wine was made. They knew what it had to go through to be put in that cup. It had to be put through a wine press. It had to be stomped on. It's His blood. And so He told the disciples to drink it. He said, I will no longer drink of this. Drink of the fruit of the vine until I see you in heaven. And You know how to word that in our terms, guys? He said he will no longer use the power that God has given him, the blood that he has shed to have an easier way of life, or for us to make it through. Everybody take the bread and pick it up. He's looking up and saying, I'm doing this for you. This is my blood. This is what is shed. This is what has to happen in order for it to cover your life.